There was a single moment in Animal Well that made me realize I was playing something fascinating. While exploring the visually beautiful world, completing puzzles, and encountering some truly terrifying animals that have left me genuinely scared out of my mind, I realized I ventured this far into a sprawling ecosystem without a single line of dialogue to guide my way. No tutorial, no friendly voice to offer purpose, and no villain to taunt me. And even though I knew this was probably going to be the case seeing as the name of the game is Animal Well, and, well, last time I checked my cat didn't have any dialogue options, I was surprised by how much the lack of hand-holding encouraged me to experiment and engage with the world on a deeper level. Typically, games rely on skill-based challenges with strategic decision-making in real time. Progress is tied to defeating enemies or overcoming physical obstacles. There's this ledge early in Hollow Knight that you can't quite reach. But there are plenty of other places to go, so you return later with the Mothwing Cloak ability, which allows for a mid-air dash and unlocks the secrets hidden beyond that previously inaccessible ledge. But there's another way to progress that's less about new tools and more about new ideas. Instead of obtaining an item or ability to interact with the world differently, the game reveals possibilities you didn't even know existed. Imagine Hollow Knight without new abilities or upgrades. Instead, teaching you a clever trick through subtle clues scattered across the map. This trick involves utilizing your shade to reach the ledge after dying nearby. This technique is possible from the very start of the game. The only limitation is your initial lack of knowledge. These moments of realization often feel like aha moments, epiphanies that dramatically shift the understanding of the game world. These moments are locked behind knowledge, not behind an item or power-up, but a newfound understanding. We'll call games that operate on this principle knowledge-based games, but epiphany-driven games would be fitting too. And for this episode of Cosmic Hour, we're exploring this entire subgenre of games that refuse to simply hand you the Mothwing Cloak for progression, so we can find out what makes them so uniquely engaging and rewarding. So, how do you find your way in a world that offers no directions? The answer is surprisingly simple. Just embrace the freedom. Explore, experiment, and interact with anything that piques your curiosity. The well is inhabited by various animal species, and without a shared language, it's key to decipher their behaviors to determine if they are friendly or hostile. Understanding these creatures is crucial for navigating the environment and making your way to the other side of a room. A pond may seem impassable, but with the help of friendly fish and their buoyant bubbles, you can hop across without getting your feet wet. Perhaps a barking dog blocks the path? That is where you throw a disc to create a distraction. And is that a monkey high up there in the trees? Let's just keep walking. Initially, the well feels as alien as being stranded in a foreign country with no understanding of the language or customs. But slowly, you'll become integrated into this unique ecosystem. And just when you believe you've grasped the mechanics of the well, it introduces a fresh concept that surpasses your understanding. Fish, for instance, aren't the only creatures capable of creating bubbles. The bottom of the well hides a seahorse that shoots a barrage of bubbles from below. But with strategic positioning, you can use the bubbles to activate ceiling-mounted buttons to unlock access to the next room. This is where you obtain the Bubble Wand, a tool that conjures bubbles to jump on, opening up previously unreachable areas. And this is just a glimpse of the well's intricate design. One single pocket of air holds the power to reshape every biome you journey across. Upgrades like the Bubble Wand or Hollow Knight's Mothwing Cloak require a deeper understanding of their place in the world to fully utilize them and move forward. Just make sure not to blow any bubbles in this room. That's how knowledge-based games are like a treasure hunt, where the ultimate prize is the knowledge itself. I haven't found a game that embodies this concept better than Outer Wilds. As a new member of the Outer Wilds Venture space program preparing for your first day in space, you're tasked with uncovering the mysteries of the solar system. But before launching into the cosmos, you're given a crash course on the essentials of space exploration. You'll learn to navigate the zero-gravity environment of space, utilizing the various gadgets and instruments at your disposal, and the basics of piloting your spacecraft. Perfect. Looks like you're ready to launch. Once you've blasted off into the unknown depths of space, there are no tutorials or glowing quest markers to guide your way. Instead, you learn by observing and piecing together clues from your surroundings. Each planet and moon holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Strange structures and cryptic messages left behind by an ancient civilization known as the Nomai. By exploring the complex network of information and technologies they left behind in the solar system, it becomes clear the Nomai weren't just visitors. Their advancements were remarkable, but now they are nowhere to be seen. The journey of space exploration quickly transforms into something much more profound. At its core, Outer Wilds is an archaeological mystery. You're piecing together the ancient history of your people and the Nomai, trying to understand how it all fits together. One of the first planets that greets the intrepid space traveler is Brittle Hollow, a rocky world with a black hole at its core. The surface and the underside of its fragile crust are adorned with mysterious structures. As time progresses, massive chunks of the planet break off and plummet into the abyss, highlighting that Outer Wilds is not about avoiding hostile creatures like an animal well, but about overcoming environmental hazards and navigating treacherous landscapes. If you were to ask me though, I'd prefer dodging pebbles thrown by a mischievous monkey to facing a moon with 4 erupting volcanoes hurling molten lava in my direction. But death in Outer Wilds is not the end. Instead of a game over screen, you awaken back on your home planet, beside the comforting glow of the campfire. But even if you manage to avoid tripping and falling into a black hole and embracing the deep existential dread of being stuck in outer space, every 22 minutes you meet an unexplained demise, resetting the loop and sending you back to the campsite. On the bright side, all the knowledge gathered before the untimely demise isn't lost. It's safely stored away in the ship's computer and in your brain, ready to be consulted on the next adventure. It's this time loop that shows the meticulously crafted Clockwork Universe of Outer Wilds. A journey to uncover the secrets of the solar system becomes a cosmic horror-filled race against time. Everything always happens in the same order, like the hourglass twins exchanging sands between the 2 planets, and Brittle Hollow crumbling as time progresses. The time loop is the heart of this systemic universe. Every 22-minute cycle offers a chance to gather knowledge with a sense of urgency. But the loop also allows you to observe patterns, predict events, and use the knowledge gained in one loop to unravel the mysteries in the next. This mechanic enables complete mastery over the intricacies of the solar system. Every celestial body follows a routine path, and events can be predicted with 100% accuracy. Once knowledge is acquired, it's absolute and can be reliably applied to navigate the challenges of the cosmos. In a sense, all games require some degree of knowledge to even begin playing. I recently witnessed someone who doesn't play games struggle with the first puzzle in Planet of Lana, and it made me realize how much modern gaming relies on players having pre-existing understanding of game conventions and mechanics. There's a term for this called game literacy, and it refers to the ability to understand and navigate various aspects of video games. This concept encompasses the knowledge and skills players acquire through their experiences with various games. It includes understanding common gameplay elements, recognizing visual cues, interpreting game mechanics, and navigating different genres. Without this foundational knowledge, it's easy to become lost and frustrated. A game-illiterate person would likely struggle with the intricacies of Hollow Knight compared to the intuitive simplicity of Mario Wonder. Just like how Outer Wilds' unique movement mechanics could easily baffle someone without prior gaming experience, there is a high probability of them getting lost in the starting area, unaware of the need to interact with certain objects to progress. So by playing more games, you're able to play more games. In this sense, life itself is a knowledge-based game. However, unlike video games, life usually doesn't come with tutorials or predictable outcomes. It's dynamic, uncertain, and constantly evolving. It kind of reminds me of the ecosystem in Rain World. This is a place with creatures that behave independently in response to the player, each other, and the landscape. Remarkably, creature interactions are simulated even off-screen, leading to the constant discovery of unfolding spectacles unrelated to the journey. Survival for the slug cat in this cruel ecosystem hinges on understanding the creatures and environment. The terrifying vulture descends like a winged nightmare. The nimble lizards dart with surprising agility, and the inquisitive garbage worm pilfers your precious possessions when you least expect it. But what truly sets this ecosystem apart is that each and every creature possesses its own unique AI, reacting to the slug cat and its surroundings in dynamic and unpredictable ways. The shoreline region, for example, is a vast ocean punctuated by small islands. This biome evokes the melancholy atmosphere of a sunken empire with decaying monuments scattered beneath the waves. While it's easy to become entranced by this somber beauty, the slug cat must remain vigilant, because danger lurks beneath the surface. Leviathans, among Rainworld's largest and deadliest creatures. With their powerful jaws, they can devour a slug cat in mere seconds. These apex predators demand cautious avoidance or cunning manipulation. It's often wise to avoid open waters altogether or wait for them to become dormant after feeding. However, if passage is unavoidable, securing a jetfish might be the safest option. These agile creatures propel themselves through the water by expelling powerful jets of liquid. With this ability, exploring watery depths becomes much easier, as the slug cat can use the jetfish's fast mode of transportation to avoid even the most formidable predators. The game kept subtly transforming how I perceived the world, urging me to consider how I could leverage the environment and its creatures to navigate diverse biomes. The realization that a friendly creature could help me bypass a hostile one fueled my desire to explore each section of the world more thoroughly. I began recognizing different lizard types by sight alone. Yellow lizards are pack hunters and alert other lizards upon spotting the slug cat. Blue lizards are small and weak, but incredibly fast and agile climbers. And green lizards, well, they're just lazy and slow versions of their counterparts. Simple observation of these creatures and their interactions became one of my favorite activities. I felt rewarded for unraveling the game's elaborate systems. Everything was so alive and filled with possibilities, encouraging me to learn its language and utilize its tools to thrive. It reminds me of the early days of Minecraft, before it became a cultural phenomenon. The mechanics were simple enough to foster experimentation and discovery. You could stumble upon crafting recipes, determine which tools were most effective, and uncover the game's secrets through trial and error. I remember spending hours smelting different materials in furnaces, combining them in various ways and seeing what I could create. It was thrilling to discover a new item or tool, like figuring out how to craft a diamond sword or brew a potion of healing. While I understand why the developers added the crafting book and why a wiki was created, these additions streamlined the game and made it more accessible to new players, but they also took away some of the magic of exploration and discovery. The game became less about personal experimentation and more about following established guidelines. Now, I find myself drawn to games that recapture that early Minecraft spirit. Games that encourage exploration, experimentation, and knowledge acquisition through gameplay. Games where the mechanics are simple enough to understand, but deep enough to allow for meaningful discovery. Games that reignite the joy of figuring things out on my own, without a guidebook or a wiki to hold my hand.
Designing Animal Wall is a layered experience. So what that means is, the base layer is something the average person can play through and enjoy to completion. But then there's a second layer, which for most games you would consider this part like 100%ing the game. There are lots of hidden items in nooks and crannies throughout the world. They're not obvious, and you might need some help to find these.
This is the creator of Animal Well, Billy Basso. In this interview, he explains that the initial layer of the game is only the tip of the iceberg in the vast and intricate journey through the well. This base layer offers little explanation as to why the amorphous blob is there, tasked with exploring the well to discover 4 flames that are protected by their respective guardian. But from the outset, it's evident that this is a world brimming with heavily implied lore. Something significant is happening within the well, but the specifics remain blurry. Hiding rich but secret lore is a hallmark of knowledge-based games. So this is exactly where we enter the second layer of the enigmatic animal kingdom. The mysteries unfold in various ways, such as cryptic messages hidden within the different biomes, fragmented narratives revealed through environmental clues, or even subtle references to historical events. For example, what happened to living mice in the well? All of them seem to appear as ghosts, suggesting some kind of event that might have wiped them out. And dogs seem to be very possessive of their discs. I was able to confirm this when I took the disc from this statue, which accidentally awoke a ghost that now follows me everywhere. And what's up with these UV paintings? The world initially appears like a vast, uncharted ocean. At first glance, the surface may appear calm and unassuming, but once you dive beneath the waves, a hidden world teeming with vibrant life and intricate beauty is revealed. And the deeper you dive, the more mysterious and darker the journey becomes. I'm not sure any game embodies the layers of discovery and hidden depth better than the vibrant voxel world of Tunic. You awaken as a tiny fox on a desolate shore, surrounded by the crumbling remnants of a forgotten civilization. Exploring the island slowly reveals its secrets, hinting at stories of a long-lost era. But uncovering those secrets is quite difficult, at least for me, because whatever this language is, I can't read a word. And that was a real problem, because in this world, nearly every scrap of text is written in this foreign script. And the goal of freeing a fox spirit trapped in a crystal is a journey that seems simply impossible without understanding the language. But at the same time, this lack of direction or explanation is one of my favorite things about Tunic. It harkens back to a time when games told you nothing, leaving everything to be figured out through exploration. But now, it's primarily done through the individual pages of the in-game instruction manual that's scattered around the world. The booklet itself is an unexpected throwback, modeled after something you'd find in the box of 2000-era games, complete with handwritten scribbles and annotations on some pages. Unfortunately, this manual too is written in Tunic's own language, but the images within offer clues and directions. I can't even remember the last time I bought a physical copy of a game that had an instruction manual. It reminded me of the old days, going through the treasure trove of information, brimming with details about the world and characters. Okay, maybe WarioWare isn't the best example, but Tunic embraces the nostalgia, making the manual a crucial part of the adventure. And paying close attention to it is absolutely vital. I learned this the hard way when I rushed into a boss fight woefully unprepared and was swiftly defeated. Had I consulted the pages I found more carefully, I would have discovered the ability to upgrade my stats, a crucial detail I had somehow completely missed. The frustration I felt was entirely my own fault for not meticulously studying the manual and uncovering this key piece of information. Not only that, I often stumbled upon items before figuring out their purpose, and sometimes a page would reveal a map of an area I hadn't even reached yet. It's about discovering things that were always there, not just finding new things on the journey, but suddenly realizing the path you've already traveled is filled with unexplored possibilities. While a puzzle masterpiece like Baba Is You allows players to manipulate game rules by moving words, and Chants of Sonar focuses on deciphering languages through observation, both games ultimately feel like solving puzzles for the sake of solving puzzles. They lack a deeper connection to the world and its lore. In contrast, Tunic weaves puzzles into the fabric of the world, where deciphering a language becomes a crucial skill for navigating the environment and progressing the narrative. Personally, when I'm in the early stages of a playthrough and I see an obstacle I can't interact with, my brain is conditioned to just say, I guess I'll come back when I have the item for that later. But Tunic subverts this by making the key item knowledge itself. From your first steps, the world is full of hidden paths and treasures lurking just beyond your field of view. Speaking of which, Tunic's isometric perspective, with its fixed angle and orthographic projection akin to an infinitely zoomed camera, allows for elements like ladders or passages to be tucked just out of sight behind ledges or corners. They can only be reached by outsmarting the camera and letting your curiosity take the lead. But occasionally, the camera pulls back, revealing the breathtaking voxel world in its entirety. These moments are particularly awe-inspiring because they allow you to fully grasp the sheer magnitude and intricate detail of the landscape that surrounds you. There is a catch though, with games that rely on knowledge or those epiphany moments. You can only truly experience the magic of discovery once. The first playthrough is unique and unforgettable, but once you know the secrets, there's no going back. This ephemeral nature of discovery is most evident in Outer Wilds. The initial journey of exploration, puzzle solving, and learning can take upwards of 20 hours. Yet, once you've gathered crucial knowledge about key locations, objects, and the time loop mechanic, you can essentially speedrun through the game. 20 hours becomes 20 minutes. Even returning to a game after years and forgetting most of the puzzles, the challenge changes from discovering solutions to simply trying to remember them. Instead of engaging with the logic and mechanics that once made the puzzle satisfying to solve, it becomes an exercise in recall. The game ceases to be a puzzle box, instead transforming into a memory capsule to relive past experiences, rather than engaging with new challenges. Most games have this problem to some degree. I never really played the Soulsborne games until Elden Ring released. Before I delved into the genre, I couldn't fathom why someone would consider showing an enemy or environment a major spoiler. However, after experiencing the thrill of exploration and discovery in the lands between, it didn't take long to become clear. The level design, enemy encounters, and boss fights are not just obstacles to overcome, but puzzles to solve. The challenge lies in learning their patterns, weaknesses, and optimal strategies. Once that knowledge is acquired, the initial thrill of discovery and the sense of accomplishment from overcoming challenges through trial and error are diminished. Revealing an enemy's design or a boss's moveset before experiencing it can rob the player of the opportunity to learn and adapt organically. It's like being told the answer to a riddle before you've had a chance to think of an answer. The knowledge gained isn't just about narrative beats or character arcs. It's about the intricacies of the game world itself. That's why spoilers in this genre are detrimental to the overall experience.
The date is March 12th, 2024. This is Billy Basso, the developer of the game you're playing. I'm recording this as one of the last things I do before submitting for certification. If you're hearing this, that means you just solved a set of puzzles that I honestly did not really design to be solvable. I didn't even expect people to discover them, so I'm kind of taking this opportunity right now to break the fourth wall and personally congratulate you. Whether you did it legitimately, or you hacked the game, or you just looked this up online, either way, I'm very, very proud of you. Good job.
Hidden layers in games are secret troves of content, rewarding those who venture beyond the main path. These secrets range from subtle Easter eggs referencing pop culture or previous games, to entire hidden levels or alternate endings. But sometimes, like in the case of Animal Well, this gets taken to a ludicrous level. The game's third layer contains secrets so obscure that even creator Billy Basso believed it would remain undiscovered. These puzzles were designed to be unsolvable, yet some dedicated players came together to crack the code. This is where the puzzles transcend conventional logic and demand external resources to complete. The well hides a unique 4x4 tile that is different for every player. It took me hours of digging into the deeper layers of the game, but I finally found mine. And for comparison, this is what another player's tile looks like. There are a total of 50 unique tiles, so solving this puzzle requires a collaborative effort involving at least 50 players. So the reward for this monumental effort should be some game-breaking new tool or item, right? Well, no, not really. This was just one piece of a larger puzzle, one of 16 required for completion. This was about where I reached my limit, which speaks volumes about how expertly Animal Well presents the pursuit of hidden knowledge in the deepest layers of its enchanting world. The immersive power of knowledge-based games stems from their core mechanic, discovery. Every game in this video provides puzzles and mysteries that make me feel like I'm part of the world instead of just a guy playing as the protagonist. Every victory is personal and makes me feel smart. Usually only after making me feel dumb for a while. In Hollow Knight, I don't feel like I'm the one beating a boss. I'm controlling a character with abilities that far surpass my own. My contribution is pressing the buttons to swing the nail. But in games like Outer Wilds, Animal Well, and Rain World, I'm playing as someone whose skills mirror mine. I feel like I could replicate their successes in real life if given the same tools. The minimal disconnect between player and character leads to that epiphany moment when the world finally clicks into place. Okay, to be fair, there might be some small disconnect, considering I wouldn't be able to jump on a bubble and stay there. The challenges that are presented test skills we use in real life every day, like problem solving and critical thinking. Success isn't just about in-game achievements, it's about sharpening the mental tools we use every day. The more we learn and grow in real life, the better equipped we are to tackle challenges in games, and vice versa. So even when these worlds initially seem impenetrable with their secrets locked behind a veil of undiscovered knowledge, the key to unlocking them lies within ourselves. Whether through the wisdom gained from life experiences or the honed instincts of game literacy, we possess the potential to decipher the hidden language of these worlds and embark on journeys of unparalleled discovery and growth. Life feels a little emptier after knowing that the first playthrough of a knowledge-based game is gone forever. But it will be better for having experienced it. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey. If you enjoyed this video, please show your support by subscribing, liking, and hitting the bell notification icon so you never miss an exploration. See you in the next video.